everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Zero Calorie Marketing. I'm Suds, and this is Anthony. He's come here all the way from Australia just for this podcast, so I'm really happy that he's here. So those of you asking, who is this very handsome man? And I'd be like, yeah, that's me, Suds. But if you are saying, who is this second handsome man joined in this couch? And it's Mr. Anthony Barone. So Anthony is the co-founder and managing director of Studio Hawk UK. So Studio Hawk is essentially your frontline SEO agency that focuses on one thing and one thing only, which is getting you found online through search. And unlike a lot of traditional SEO agencies, their specialism is you work with a specialist directly on day one. So there's no account manager, there's no marketing manager, there's no one person in the middle. So it's just you talking directly to the source who's actually working on the campaign. Would that be fair?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, that'd be fair. 100%.
So firstly, Anthony, who are you and what do you do?
So as I said, I'm Anthony, co-founder and MD of Studio Hawk. Been running the agency for 4 years now in the UK and have done the employee to founder journey from Australia. And then I moved here in August of 19 to start Studio Hawk. So it's been a wonderful journey.
Essentially, like what you had worked for Studio Hawk in the Australian kind of branch, I guess. Just purely out of personal interest, like how have you found the cultural difference between, like not SEO, but actual kind of agency work, agency life in the UK versus in Australia?
Yeah, 100%. So I worked for about 18 months at Studio Hawk Australia as a second hire. So just Harry and then I was a second hire there. And for me, the experience has been, Australians a bit more laid back, a bit more chill. The market's not as advanced, speaking from SEO, but in terms of brands, knowledge, in-house capabilities, the money, like it's just not as big as it is over here. So you've got better people in-house, you're going up against better agencies who have got better skills and a bit more understanding of digital marketing overall than compared to Australia. Culturally, have a laugh, really, self-deprecating, can have a joke, chat about sports and the failures of both national teams and that type of stuff. But so that's why I like it here. It's been a bit easier than say if I went to the US. But on the business front, there are some differences there.
So I mean, in terms of Aussies are naturally competitive people from what I've seen. Would it be fair you have to up your game since coming to the UK? Not that you were taking it easy in Australia, but like in terms of the competition and also who you're up against.
100%. You have some of the best agencies, not just in SEO, but in digital marketing in the world here in the UK. You got some of the biggest brands who have got good in-house teams who know their stuff. So they challenge you, and it's a harder sales process. You're going up against better salespeople. You're going up against better SEOs or better marketing managers, so better understanding. So you really do have to up your game, because when you're pitching for clients, they know more than you're used to back home, and you're going up against other brands. They have done it before in a much harder market. So yeah, it's been quite a challenge.
So you really have to know your shit.
100% you have to know your shit, and if you don't, you'll get found out very quickly.
Good. So that's why we're here with you, because we want to actually really, really understand exactly what you do. I want to get straight into the rapid fire questions that we have. And then, we've got a whole list of questions that we've prepared for Anthony. So he's in for a bit of a grilling, or a Barbie, as he'd probably say. Anthony, what are 3 must-read books?
For SEO or in general?
Just general, or SEO.
3 must-read books. Some of my favorites have been How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yep.
Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Yep.
And Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday.
Ooh.
That's a very good one. That'll really make you think. So yeah, those are 3 books that I would say are quite good to give to anyone. Give to a new starter. Give to anyone really.
Give to a friend or family member.
Yeah.
Do you listen to podcasts, and what are some of your favorites?
I do listen to podcasts, not recently, but I have listened to podcasts. My podcast was on the, I was going down the finance route and hard money sort of route. So I listened to a fair few there. I think Diary of a CEO is doing quite well in terms of what he's been able to achieve. And there is one more, but I can't remember the name of it. But yeah, I think in terms of like a name brand one, he's doing all right, but I couldn't give you.
He told me offline, it's Zero Calorie Marketing.
There you go, there's another one.
Thank you.
Well done.
We'll edit that in.
Well done. Thank you.
three SaaS tools that you cannot live without.
3 SaaS tools. So speaking about, so we're going to cover SEO and like project management sort of stuff. Monday.com is something that we use for our general day-to-day. Slack.
Yeah.
Google Workspace. That's what we're on. So that's what we. If it's not in my calendar, it doesn't exist. If I'm not in the emails, don't know what's going on. So those are the 3 biggest ones for SaaS tools.
Perfect. If anyone from those companies is listening and wants to sponsor this lovely podcast and make more of these things happen, then get in touch. Email details will be somewhere in the comment section below. We've got 2 questions, but I think the better one would be, Anthony, we spoke about this just offline, just before we came on. Do you want to have a rant and get some things off your chest?
We can. How long have you got?
We've got all the time in the world, my friend.
All right. So for me, one of the things traditionally, I've come from a non-SEO background. I've come from a hospitality and sport background. So I fell into SEO like a lot of SEOs traditionally do. So one of the things that the reason why Studio Hawk was built and what we try and do is because SEO has such an annoying reputation around it that's been built over 10, 15 years because of the snake oil salesman, because of the spam emails that you get in your inbox. People have a perception about what SEO is and they don't actually understand it. They just throw you off as like, oh, just another one of those SEO guys. So one of the things is trying to really improve their reputation via educating people, doing speaking gigs, doing webinars through our clients. We've got our own Hawk Academy training platform that we try and do to really detail that SEO is not rocket science. It's not all smoke and mirrors. There's actually some sort of method to the madness there and the impact that it can provide on small to medium and large businesses.
I mean, one thing I wanted to really kind of, I'm not an SEO person, not by a long stretch, but there seems to be these legacy guys, mostly guys actually, who are actually, because they've kind of worked in SEO since the early days of Google, they have this kind of perception that they own it or they're the only ones who has a right to actually speak. And I, like anyone who knows me knows that, people who are actually kind of entitled to this, usually they don't know what they're talking about. And they're kind of so desperate to kind of cling on to this kind of view that, okay, so because I've been working on this for X number of years, how do you deal with these people?
I stay off Twitter, so I don't have a Twitter personally because I just get no work done. I think it tends to happen, and maybe not just in SEO, but in businesses in general. You just get to a point where you're so used to it worked. It's like recency bias. It worked for you, and you're making money, or you're doing all right, and you don't want to change because it's whatever's been done has been done. But we had massive updates the last 10 years at Google. So those old school black hat sort of ways, white text in the footer sort of thing, like spamming the shit out of things, it's not going to fly anymore because with the advent of AI and Google creating search generative experience and trying to implement AI more and more, those old tricks, they were gone when the Panda update happened at the start of the 2010s. But you still see some tricks like that on some websites out there. So those guys out there, I think it's a bit of recency bias. I think it's just like they'll keep doing what they've doing because it's always worked that way. And the churn and burn method of like just because people don't have that understanding and education on SEO, those guys can just churn and burn through clients because 3 months, 6 months, that'll just keep paying the bills. They don't really care because they can just keep churning it and doing that rather than just doing the right thing, learning, progressing, because if you don't evolve, you die. And with SEO, certainly if you don't evolve, you will definitely die. It's not a matter of if, but when on SEO. So those habits really do die hard. And some of those guys, it does get a bit annoying. And that's what we're trying to do by making sure we continually testing, evolving, best practice, doing what we can for our clients. Because if we don't, we're out of a job.
Because you do work with some pretty decent clients in terms of, the client base and what we first actually met when we actually worked on a client together, and, I'd actually just seen you on Zoom. So, and I was like, oh, there's a guy who knows what he's talking about. And it was very hard to get hold of you because your timetable was really kind of really busy. So if anyone's looking for SEO, this is the man to talk to. We'll have all these details in the show notes below. So next phase of our podcast, we actually have more questions for you than any of the guests that we've had before. What is SEO and why is it important?
SEO is all about getting your website to the top of Google. Google is the largest search engine in the Western world, making up about 90% of all searches. There are millions and billions of searches every day. So our job is to make sure that your website gets on the top of Google for relevant keywords that people are searching for. They don't know your brand, they don't know who you are, but they're looking for what you offer and what your service is, what your product is. And we want to be able to get our clients to the top of Google for those searches. So that's what SEO is. It's not rocket science. It's all about getting to the top of Google for relevant searches that you can attract people who don't know who you are.
Perfect. We've got a whole list, so I'm just going to go through the questions one by one. Next up, what are the key factors that Google considers when ranking websites?
So some of the ranking factors that you want to try and hit and follow through with, because even people at Google with their tens of thousands of employees and people working on this every day don't have the exact formula, because if they did, they wouldn't be working at Google and they'd be selling the secrets. So some of the core things are technical SEO, so making sure your website is indexable and crawlable. What I mean by that is, can Google actually see your content? Can they read it? Can they go through your web pages? That's a big one. Content. Are you serving quality content that Google will want to serve to their users? Are you answering questions? Are you providing quality content that's backed up by facts, backed up by authority, backed up by research? You're not just spinning some ChatGPT stuff that everyone else will be doing. So content, because Google's a search engine, they want to provide the best answer to someone's query. If you have done your best to be able to provide that answer, Google is more likely to rank it. That's pretty much it.
Pretty good.
And another one is backlinks. So a backlink is a link from one website that points to yours. Google goes, well, if this high authority website likes what you're doing, I'm going to boost you up. And the more and more links that are of relevance that you get, the bigger the authority, the bigger the signal. So there's still three of the, it's not rocket science. There's still some of the biggest things to focus on. While there is a lot of things that go into those three pillars, those are the three core things you can try and that really make up SEO.
The basics first.
Yeah.
Anthony, actually, for the Zero Calorie Marketing website, you actually gave me some really good feedback. So, and I was like, because I'd actually created this website myself on Squarespace, I kind of took away so many things from that. So I'm still kind of working through the list of things that you sent me. So thank you for that. It's a free bit of SEO advice from our good friend here. Next up, how can I improve my website's ranking in search results?
Okay, so some of the things you want to look at when it comes to your website ranking is, again, that technical SEO. So if you're building on something like WordPress, Squarespace, Webflow, Shopify, it's a pretty solid platform to build upon. But if your website's too slow, if there aren't any pages that detail what it is that you do, who you are, what service you offer, what solutions does your product or service fix, what's your expertise? If you don't have that content there that details exactly who you are and what you do and who you do it for, that Google can then understand, crawl, and then rank that page for those relevant keywords. That's a big one. So content, just creating content, being the expert, talking about what it is that you do.
Next up, that was a really good, tight answer, by the way. What is keyword research and how can I do it effectively?
So keyword research, just like it says on the tin, understanding what keywords people are using to find your goods and services. So a couple of ways to do this. One, first step before you even get into keyword research is, who are you targeting? Who is buying from you? Who do you want to buy? Who do you want to buy from you? Who do you want to sell to? Who is your target market? Who is your persona? Having that information can then also help your keyword research, because you can have that additional context, then go into the keyword research, and you don't even have to have fancy tools for keyword research. You can use Google itself. So say you are a content marketing company and you want to understand what keywords people are using to find your services. Literally plug those keywords into Google. Content marketing companies, content marketing for SaaS, content marketing for fintech. Plug those keywords into Google. You'll be able to see who ranks for those keywords, what Google is showcasing. You can see what those titles are like, what those meta descriptions are like. You could also see related queries. So in the drop down, you'll be able to see the related queries. You'll also be able to see people also ask questions, which can give you free long tail keyword research and free FAQ content and free blog topic ideas. So using Google as itself as a keyword research tool. And then there's other paid tools out there like SEMrush and Keyword Insights and things like that we'll use. But doing that keyword research is fundamental, because you actually understand what people are using to find your goods and services. There's no point using keywords and creating content that people aren't going to use to find your business and service, because if you try and rank for them, people will click through to that. They go, this isn't what I'm looking for, and then bounce off straight away. So understanding your customer persona, your users, your ICP, and then using that as well to then jump into keyword research, figure out what people are searching for, and then leveraging those keywords and creating content around those keywords, providing answers to those questions that people are using on Google search.
Perfect. Next up, I know we kind of covered this just a bit earlier. What are backlinks and why are they important for SEO?
Yeah. So a backlink is an authoritative website in your niche that is linking to you. So for example, you are a fashion brand and you get a link from Grazia or GQ. That's an authoritative website that is in the niche, that has relevant content on it, that has relevant traffic, that Google will see, well, if this high authority website likes what this fashion company is doing, I'm going to continue to boost this fashion house up. So that's what a backlink is. And the more and more of those you get, the bigger the authority, the bigger the signal. It's the reason why George Clooney does Nespresso ads and not me, because you know who George Clooney is and you don't know who I am. It's that authority, it's that trust. So that's what Google uses to try and understand, relevant, a bit of relevancy and a bit of relevancy and understand the bit of relevancy and I forgot what I was going to say, but yes, a bit of relevancy as well, and authority.
Essentially, it's like, from my layman's understanding of this, let's say you're selling shoes or, I don't know, watches, and the number one magazine or newspaper in that kind of field covers you and gives you your website or blesses your website with a link. It shows to Google, okay, here's someone who specializes in talking about shoes or watches or whatever that may be. And they've given this company they kind of vote by saying, okay, here's a link. So, Google kind of sees that as a sign to say, this is useful website to look at, because they want their users to actually be served with the most important or the most interesting or the most relevant search.
Yeah.
Good. How can I optimize my website for local search? And also, what is local search?
So local search is about trying to gather certain location-based keywords around your area. So for example, co-working space, Limehouse, right? You are targeting keywords or targeting keyword searches from people in your local area. So great for coffee shops and plumbers and tradies and things like that. So that's what local SEO is. You'll naturally see local SEO without even thinking about it by seeing that Google business profile on the right-hand side. When you are searching for a coffee shop or an office or a business, on that thing on the right-hand side is a Google business profile, which you don't even need to have a website to actually own one of them, and it's free. So you can own one of those listings for your business if you do have a physical location or service to the area. So there are two things that you can do. So that's a big part of local SEO. And some of the other ways to optimize your website for local SEO is, so get that Google business profile. Make sure all the information is consistent between your Google business profile and your website, such as address, business name, phone number, website, NAP, name, address, phone. All that contact information is consistent. Creating a specific contact page for location. So say if you have 3 or 4 stores around London in different suburbs, on your website, you create a specific location page for each location or each store. And then creating localized content. So within that content, talking about those suburbs or those areas that you serve. And the last one will be citations or business directories. So you'd have like Yell or TripAdvisor or things like that, ones that are relevant. There'll be legal directories, or there'll be like Check a Trade or things like that for different industries that are usually free to join. And you can, again, it's another signal to Google. So if you claim that listing, you make sure all the information is correct between your website, Google business profile, and these directories. It's another place that Google can then crawl and essentially ping and confirm all the details are correct. And also for users, whereby if they're on Check a Trade looking for you, that phone number is correct. That website's correct. Your services are correct. So it's a bit of a twofold there. But that's there's some of the things you can do for local SEO.
I know we covered this just earlier, but in a very, very short paragraph, what is technical SEO? What is technical SEO and why is it important?
Technical SEO is very important because if you do not have a website that Google can index, crawl, and then rank, then there's no point. If Google can't index your website, then what is the point of it? Because then it won't be on Google. So technical SEO, it's like doing an MOT on a vehicle or doing a health check at the doctor. We need to make sure everything's working well. We need to make sure it's running right, because if it's not, Google's going to struggle to understand the website and crawl the website. and people are going to struggle to use the website as well. So technical SEO is something that's been overlooked because it seemed to be very nerdy and people have forgotten about it, but it's getting bigger and bigger in the SEO world, because if you do not have a website that can't be crawled by Google, if you've got a shop closed sign on your shop and you're complaining that people aren't walking in, same principle applies. So if Google cannot crawl or index that website, then there is 0 point of having a website, especially in the Western world, as Google is the largest search engine in the Western world.
That's such a brilliant analogy in terms of shop open, close sign, and times. This is when the shop's open, so that's amazing. What are some common SEO mistakes that businesses make?
Here we go.
How long have
we got? All right. So again, building a website without any thought of SEO, it's like building a house without an architect. Just putting bricks one on top of another, and then coming to the architect and saying, then design it after it's been built. That's what tends to happen a lot. So not planning out the structure of the website, not doing all that pre-work beforehand, and then just building a website and then having to put the toothpaste back in the tube afterwards. So that's a big one. Technical.
Great analogy.
There you go. That's one. Content. So people just like pumping out irrelevant content or low quality content. That's another mistake, because people think, if I just put it on there with a couple of keywords, that'll be great. Google's been running for 20 years. They've pretty much seen nearly every web page and crawled as much content as anyone can ever crawl. So if you just put a couple of lines in, that person who's been running their SEO for 5 years and ranking number one for all these keywords has got a nice long form blog. They've got 10 blogs, 15 blogs. They've got services pages. They've done all the right things to get to number one. What makes you think your 3 lines on a blog is going to do it justice? Why is Google going to rank that? They're not. So people underestimating content. So they're the 2 biggest ones. Content and a poor user experience and poor quality website are the 2 big ones.
Because I guess, don't forget, Google wants their users to have the best experience when they click on something, so that they'll come back for more rather than go to another search engine. So that's another great analogy here. What are the latest SEO trends that I should be aware of? So
the biggest ones is going to be all about authority. It's called EEAT. So experience, expertise, authority, and trust. So the last couple of core algorithm updates have all been around helpful content, which is Google trying to essentially go against just AI spun stuff. So taking people's real life authority and putting it online. So for example, author bios, team pages. Think of it as your own Wikipedia and LinkedIn, but on your own website to verify and showcase to Google, hey, the people who are at this business or wrote this content are legit, are who they say they are. So you're adding that real life authority. That's a big one. It was announced today or yesterday. Google's added improved their AI offering with Gemini. So again, search engine experience. These are the types of things that are going to people are going to have to look at, where you're going to have to work even harder to create great content, give people a great user experience on your website, get those links in the door, and do those things religiously. It's like going to the gym. You're not going to get shredded in a day. Same thing applies with SEO. SEO is a long-term game. So those things still apply, but going to have to really, really watch out for AI in search, better content, and a greater technical SEO standing.
Perfect. So next up, I know we kind of touched on this before. What are some of the best SEO tools that I can use?
Yeah, so some of the best SEO tools, and again, there are some free tools and some paid tools. So free tools are things like Google itself and Google Keyword Planner. A lot of PPC people or ads people will use Google Keyword Planner, but it's a free tool that you can use to see what you can bid on, or it's a free keyword research tool essentially. If you've got a website, you've got to have Google Analytics 4, and you've got to have Google Search Console. Google Analytics allows you to see the behavior, metrics, track the traffic, track goals, conversions for people that are already on your website. And Google Search Console is a free tool that allows you to see your performance on Google Search before people have even got to your website. So what are you ranking for? Are people clicking on your results? How are your results performing? What's the average position? Are your results coming up in search? And also with Google Search Console, it showcases technical SEO issues from Google itself. So you can use that as a free tool. There 3 free tools that are really, really good that every business owner should have, everyone who's got a website should have and should use. And it's a couple of paid tools that we use are things like SEMrush, Sitebulb, Screaming Frog as well.
Perfect. Next up, how can I measure the results of my SEO efforts?
Brilliant. So with SEO, nobody can guarantee you anything in SEO. If someone says I'll get you number one in 90 days, they're lying. With SEO, it is a constant battle to do your technical SEO, do your content, work on links, work on local international, work on local SEO, work on international SEO religiously, month on month, week by week, to be able to earn your way to the top of Google. And the way you can measure that is through things like Google Analytics 4 and Google Search Console, because you can track. So things like for an e-commerce business, very easy. Traffic, revenue, transactions, money. The money's there. That's why e-commerce is great for SEO, because you can see if the money is coming in or not, right? Might not come tomorrow, might not come next week, but you'll be able to track that as metrics. Some of the other metrics that you probably should track for any business are the amount of ranking keywords, the relevancy of the ranking keywords, and non-branded keywords, so people who are searching for things that don't include your brand name, and keep an eye on your branded search as well. So there's some of the things you should track. From a SaaS business, it's going to be, or SaaS or lead generation business, it's going to be email clicks, phone clicks, contact forms. They're going to be, sign up, book a demo, that type of stuff is going to be tracked for a lead gen sort of perspective, and that's all trackable. So the agency or maybe not so much the web developer, but agencies should be able to help set that up for you, so you can track that and then hold the agencies accountable.
Perfect. I know I don't want to get into this too much, but for the layman, what is black hat SEO?
So black hat SEO is essentially doing the dodgies. So creating spammy websites, or cloaking, which you would create ghost pages that Google can't see, or create certain pages that only Google can see that might be spam full of keywords. There is like dodgy backlink building. There is creating fake personas to be able to then game knowledge panels and that type of stuff. So yeah, a black hat is just doing the dodgies essentially.
I like that, doing the dodgies.
Yeah.
Black hat equals doing the dodgies. Okay. What are some common SEO myths?
Common SEO myths. Common SEO myths are, if I just write 1,000 words, it'll do the job. It's all about quality, not quantity. I only have one page, so why aren't I ranking?
Yeah.
Because it's only one page. SEO is really quick.
Yeah.
That's a myth. SEO is like going to the gym. You're not going to get ripped in a day. So that's what it's like.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Keywords are everything. If I just cram the keywords into my page, that'll do it. Like I said before, being able to making sure that's quality over quantity. Are you providing a quality answer that someone will read and go, this is brilliant, this is great, this answered my question, I want to engage with these guys. So there are some myths, I would say. There's definitely more, but there are some
first things that come to mind. We've got so many questions to go through. So first, this is more kind of stepping back. What's it like to be a SEO professional?
I've come to enjoy it. Again, I come from a non-SEO background, a hospitality and sport background. I've come to enjoy it because for us, we get to work on so many different websites, so many different platforms, so many different challenges, so many different people, so many different businesses. So one day I'll have 5 or 6 calls and I'll be talking about marketing, I'll be talking about dog food, I'll be talking about women's fashion, I'll be talking about cars, I'll be talking about data validation, because all my clients do different types of things. So you are forced to understand all the things that those businesses do. That's why I like it, because you're reading about so many different things all the time, and you have to know so much. It's not
Keeps
just
the
like
mind fresh.
Exactly, because you're not just like, I know this one thing. I know how to work on a Jaguar E-Type, and that's it. No, you need to know all the WordPress, Shopify, Squarespace, custom builds. You need to know how to work with developers. You need to know how to work with marketing managers, CMOs, CFOs, MDs, C-suite, marketing execs, PPC, social. You need to, even just the people side, different tools, different types of sites. Sites are built differently because developers build all different types of ways. And then different types of industries themselves, and trying to understand what works for those industries. So that's why I love it. It's just the variety is unbelievable.
Well, don't let those things put you off if you go to SEO. Another thing is some of the listeners or viewers may be just starting off in SEO, or SEO has landed on their desk. What advice would you give them?
Do your own research. It's not that hard. Everything about SEO is already out there online. It's just finding those reputable sources, speaking to the right people, speak to experienced people. So you can just gives you an open door to then allow you to do that yourself. like anything, people do their due diligence on their mortgage or their business, or when the accountant comes along, they'll do the due diligence. But like for agencies, a lot of people just go, oh, yep, you guys know what you're doing. Now that's tightened up a bit, but you guys know what you're doing, go and do it. And people tend to get burned. So there's some of the things that I would say is just do a bit of research, have a bit of an understanding, speak to the right people, check out case studies, check out results so that people can see, hey, does this SEO thing actually work for me? The other one is also, do people actually use SEO in your website to find your business? Is your business in a position, or do you want your business to grow and scale and have digital marketing as that option? Do you want to build your website to be a platform to generate sales and leads? Some people don't. So SEO can work if you've got a website, and it does work, and you can be very successful at it, but also it depends where you're at in the business stage, depends what you want to do, depends how your customers find you. So there are some of the questions you also have to ask when you're contemplating SEO. Do you have the time horizon? If you need quick wins and you don't have the patience, you don't have the budget, you can try and do SEO yourself or work on some basics of SEO. You might not pay an agency, but you might pay that money to an ads agency to get some instant impact while the SEO is working in the background. So there are different types of factors you got to look at before you sort of take on SEO or look at SEO as a channel.
So essentially, like if you're trying to grow fast, then there are other different ways you can do. Whereas SEO is a marathon, so it's going to be a long-term thing. So don't expect quick results, but do things in the right best practice, I guess.
Yeah, best practice. Quick results can come depending on the context. Like sometimes if the website's there and the foundations are there, hey, a couple of tweaks can actually see some instant impact. But traditionally, it is a longer term game. It takes ages for Google to crawl the millions and billions of websites that are out there. It takes time. That one change might not get picked up for a week or two. So that's why SEO is a marathon, not a sprint.
Perfect. So these are kind of a long form questions next. AI generated content versus human written content for search and blogging.
All right. This has been all the rage, all year. So AI written content, if you are using ChatGPT or an AI tool to write 100% of your content and you copy and paste and put on your website, you might as well set it on fire, because there's so many other people that are doing that. What makes you stand out? You've got a USP in your business and you're going to just let ChatGPT and just do copy and paste. Well, there's no real essence of your business in that content. There's no real essence of you. There's no expertise. There's no authority. Yes, you may have answered the question, but hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of people have done that same thing on ChatGPT, and you're telling everyone, engage with my business and buy from me because I'm special. Well, your content's just bland. So what we do and what we would say is use AI, use ChatGPT, use these tools to help you do the work, to speed it up, to give you ideas, to give you the framework, to give you the ideation, to give you a rough draft. And then you edit it, you add to it, you add your expertise, you add your authority, you add your polish to it. You don't have a robot in your business that just says the same stuff. Why would you do the same thing with your blog? People buy from you, the founder or the sales team, or there's something special about your business, and then you're just going to write bland content on your website. Your website's another salesman. So if it's got that bland content, people are going to read this and go, well, what the hell's this? So AI is great. It's going to sort out really the lazy people are using it well. But AI is going to really, those average copywriters are probably going to get sacked. And you're going to have to, if you're really, really creative and you're really, really good, just use it as a weapon to be able to enhance your abilities and be more efficient and speed things up. But so I shouldn't be scared of it.
Just a disclaimer, when Anthony said set your website on fire, if you are listening to this in the US, all views are expressed by Anthony. So any lawsuits, go to him, not me. Next up, you've got to put that in there.
You have to put that in there.
People take it for granted.
Don't actually set your website on fire.
Is it even worth writing content targeting informational queries anymore? Since AI leveled the playing field on who can create the content, seems like these queries just came 100 times more competitive since GPT has launched.
That's a very good question. So you've got a point, because are you just going to waste time, creating essentially a Wikipedia article on your own website? You would still have to have some of that information on there on your own website so that you can internally link to it. So instead of sending someone out to Wikipedia, there's no harm in having that content on your own website, because then again, it validates what you're saying. It gives Google more of an indication of what you do, showcase you as an expert because you've got that information on there. So while you shouldn't really be using informational queries to drive traffic, you shouldn't expect it to like get a bunch of leads from informational traffic, right? Because the idea behind an informational query is you provide the information. The goal with that is then having some calls to action, having some links on that page so that people see that and then go to other pages on your website to then keep them on there. So there's no harm in having that informational content, but that is not your number one strategy point to then drive people through that informational content. That is now would be seen as supporting your goal of becoming an expert. Expert in that topic or that area, really.
Good. Last one up, at Studio Hook, how are you seeing the latest changes with AI, and how do you feel about what's going on in this world?
Yeah, so on the internal front, we're using AI and those tools to be able to speed up our work, get more done for our clients, and be able to be more efficient. On the Google front, it's going to be search generative experience and Gemini, as they released, as they announced today, whereby things like perspectives. So Google announced this 6 months ago, which is they're going to be changing the face of search with AI involved, and perspectives is one of those, right? And this might be because they're scared of TikTok and whatnot. But an example, you would type in onto Google the best things to do in San Francisco, right? Or the best things to do in London. And traditionally, you would get a blog. You'd get 10 blue links, or usually all blogs. Then it changed to some YouTube videos. Then it changed. Now what they're going to be doing is they're going to be pulling in Reddit, Quora, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram, YouTube videos under perspectives. They're offering different perspectives. So that's now in addition to the traditional blogs. So as a business, you're not only have to do SEO and create content and do, but you're also going to have to do video content. You're also going to have to be on socials. You're also going to have to, look at Reddit, because Google will be pulling those search results into Google itself under perspectives. And they will change depending on the query. So that's an informational based query trying to find out more about what are the best things to do in a city. On the flip side, for e-commerce, when you typed in things like standing desks, a lot of the content there was pulled from the product pages.
I see.
Rather than the category pages. It used to be the category pages. So product pages, your product level page is going to be much more important to be able to provide that information. It's gone are the days we just have price, name, photo, my product is good, buy it. No. Those product level pages are going to have to be really, really slick to provide all that information on there. So yeah, ASOS's of the world and things like that, looking at their product pages and seeing what key features they have, what specifications, history, brands, all that type of stuff, making those product level pages really, really slick. That was one where, search generative experience will be pushing more of that. And then EEAT, as I mentioned before, expertise, experience, authority, and trust, trying to combat that AI. Everyone just pumping out that same stuff. So making sure that you've got that real life authority, putting it online, and being able to showcase to Google, hey, we are who we say we are. We're good at what we do. Here's some quality content that we've written. Even if it's with the help of AI, you have put your spin on it. You have edited it. You have made sure that it's all up to code.
It's something real. Away from this, Anthony, if you were not working in the exciting world of SEO, what would you be doing?
In reality, what would I be doing? Probably still be
carpenter.
I would love to be a carpenter. I'd love to be, carpenter, restoring furniture, continuing to restore furniture. That would be awesome. In reality, I probably would have done something in hospitality.
Okay.
And stuck with that journey if I didn't get into Studio Hawk. In an alternate reality, I would love to have been a commentator for football, a football commentator. That would have
As
been
in,
awesome.
like when you say football,
Australian rules football. That would be AFL.
Aussie rules, right?
The Aussie rules. That would be one of my dreams. If I could be a football commentator for AFL, that would be the alternate universe.
Who's your AFL team?
Carlton.
Well, the funny thing is, I actually did a AFL Aussie rules football video a few years ago, and I had to get up to scratch on these rules. This is a barbaric sport, man. I mean, it's brutal. But yeah, Aussie rules football is something you may not have expected in a marketing podcast blog. So that's one thing. Last thing, Studio Hawk, not Black Hawk. What's the best way to get hold of you? If someone wanted to get some advice on carpenting, SEO, have a chat, have a beer.
LinkedIn or email. I'm always on those two things. So hit me up on LinkedIn, send us a message. I'm usually relatively responsive, or email, which I'm pretty responsive. I'm on it all the time. So those two things. I'm not on Twitter, and I'm
for a good reason.
For a good reason, and I'm not on TikTok yet.
yet. One thing, we'll put your details below. Are there any final words that you want to leave our audience with?
SEO is a channel that is for the long term. So it's something that you can own. Your website is something that you can own, you can control. It is your soapbox. If Facebook shut down tomorrow and 90% of your traffic is through Facebook, you're screwed. So your website is something that you can control. How much effort you put into it, how much detail, how much work you put into it can lead to more traffic, more users, more sales. So SEO is something that is for the long term. You're not going to get quick wins with SEO. Just like most of you wouldn't have built your business in a day, you're not going to get to number one on Google in a day either. So it's having a long-term horizon for that. That's
Perfect.
it.
On that note, thank you so much for spending your time with us here, Anthony. For those of you watching, please tune in to next week's episode. I think, to be honest with you, Anthony, we covered so many things here. And I'm really excited to be able to get this out there. And for anyone who, I went to Anthony for advice on SEO for zero-calorie marketing. I mean, if the website sucks, it's not his fault, it's my fault. But what I'm trying to say is, this man knows what he's talking about, and he's given me so much good advice over the time that I've known him. And we would love to have you back on the show in the future.
Mate, thank you, mate. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.